not look directly at you, all right?
Yeah, that's fine.
I'll look past you.
You can look past me, you can look at the papers if you
Okay.
want. Just
All
look
right.
at the papers.
I'll just acknowledge you in the beginning.
Good. So take, I don't know what number now.
727.
Jen keeps laughing. So, right, take 5. Hi Jen, how are you?
Good, thanks.
That's good. Thank you for meeting with me today for this pre-briefing regarding your assessment. Thank you also for agreeing to be on the film, and we might laugh during this. We're trying not to, but rest assured this film footage is only going to be used for my personal professional development, so it's not going to be reviewed or seen by anybody except my peers and assessors, and so that'll be held in the strictest confidence. Please don't try to be too nervous about that. And as I said, I'm Kate Horwig, Training Solutions. I'm here to run you through this assessment. And I understand that you're employed in the role of administrative assistant here at Queanbeyan High School, and that you timeshare this job with Liz Burton, who will also be going through this same process as well. You're looking to apply for recognition of prior learning in the unit of competency BSB CMM 201, which is communicate in the workplace, because that relates to a lot of the work you do in your job here at Queanbeyan High School. But I also understand you have extensive administrative experience from previous employment and previous things that you've done. So in the assessments, we can talk about any of these, wherever you get your experience and knowledge from. For the record too, I have a Diploma of Business Management, and I also have a Diploma of Training and Assessment, so I'm qualified to run these assessments for you. So we're here in your new workspace. You've been here for a few weeks now. How's it going so far?
Good, it's quite good.
Yeah?
Yeah. I've enjoyed the transition, and we seem to be coping quite well.
That's fabulous to hear. That's great. I'm really glad. Liz said much the same thing when I met with her on Monday. Obviously, you've already been through your employment induction and your workplace induction with Jilly Archer. So I should imagine she talked about, I see you have them here with you, your administrative policies and your work health and safety policies up for the camera. There we go, Ripper. So Liz also mentions that you have sort of stylised and individualised your workspaces to suit you both, and you have your own chair, I see. Looks very similar to Liz's, but it's different. Obviously, I understand with the cushions because I can see the different coloured markings there for each person. So today I'm just going to run you through the assessment package that we're doing in your application for recognition of prior learning, and we'll run through these assessments, both of them, next Friday. So we've still got a further week. We've already had a bit of initial discussion about that, and I see you've got all your paperwork here as well. I've also brought in a new assessment plan which we'll work through today, but you've got a copy of each of the assessment instruments that form this tool, and the mapping checklist to tie that back to the unit of competency which you have here for that particular communicate in the workplace unit. So I'll run through all the main important stuff out of this without reading it through. Then at the end, we'll just double check that you've got each single section of this plan and that you're clear with that. And then I'll get you to sign off on that at the end of this briefing. Please feel free to ask me any questions or to clarify anything if you don't really understand properly. At any point, just butt in. All right, so formally, we're working towards, as I said, the BSB CMM 201 Communicate in the Workplace Unit of Competency, because that covers a large part of your work here. And you have lots of previous experience which will allow you to apply for RPL. I've provided you with a copy of all the relevant documents, as we've just discussed, and we can refer to these as we go through today's briefing. Consultation, this package was all designed in consultation with Jilly Archer, also David Milton, the principal, and Jemima Young, who was previously in your role before. So she also applied for RPL for a lot of these, so we've used this tool before. The assessment will be conducted for both you and Liz, and will be done in the same way for both of you. So for you, I'll meet you here at 9 AM next Friday And we'll do this assessment during your normal work hours right here at your desk.
Okay.
And the other thing that we're going to do is review your portfolio of evidence, which I'll talk about in a bit more detail a little bit along. I'd like to, if you don't mind, film your responses to the oral questionnaire that I will ask you as part of that assessment, if that's okay with you.
That's fine.
All right. So you have all the tools and equipment that you'll need here to do this oral questionnaire assessment. For the portfolio of evidence, of course, you'll have to bring some documents which form part of that portfolio. But in better detail, the portfolio of evidence will detail the performance evidence required for this unit of competency. So I've given you the portfolio of evidence guidelines here, which you're working towards, and I know that you have quite a number of these documents already compiled. If you could get those documents to me by Wednesday of next week,
right.
Then at the latest, then I can compile all of those. Please, you can bring any other documents you have in hard copy with you, but I'll have that
Friday.
on the Friday,
Okay.
and I'll have that full portfolio
Right.
for review on the Wednesday, and we'll review the portfolio of evidence first. Then to finish the assessment process off, we'll do just a short oral questionnaire with 3 questions, nothing serious, to confirm your knowledge about communications in the workplace. Again, that can be about Queanbeyan High School, but I know you've only been here for a short time, so you can use
Previous experience?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, from anywhere you have learnt this in the past. I'm here to assist and support you through it, right? When I'm asking you these questions, you will have to answer them completely and provide enough evidence, like sufficient evidence to meet all of the different rules of evidence, which we'll go through a little bit later as well. But just to ensure that you have demonstrated knowledge or demonstrated performance ability in those things. If something is not fully complete and I need a little bit more from you, I'll just prompt you with some questions or tease those answers out. So don't panic. I'll give you as much time as you need to answer all the questions. When we've finished that, as we'll do with the portfolio before that, I'll review all of your evidence that you have supplied, either in the document, like in the portfolio as documents or supporting evidence, or your answers to those questions with demonstrated experience and knowledge. And I will let you know the outcomes of that, i.e. if you have provided sufficient evidence to be deemed competent, or if we need to maybe put in a couple more bits, and then we can work through possibly reassessment, reviewing that portfolio or the answers. But I will give you that decision at the end of that assessment.
Okay.
I don't imagine we're going to have any need for an appeals process, because I know you've got stacks of experience. I know you're doing really well in your job here so far. But if there are grounds for appeal, then the training solutions policy is you have 28 days from the day you are notified of that assessment decision to apply in writing to me or at Training Solutions for that appeal process to start.
Okay.
And you've got my, here's my business card, and also on those documents is my email address and phone number. Okay, well, I really think that's a pretty comprehensive study. Do you have any further questions at this point?
No, I think.
Yep,
I'm okay.
Work through that. Excellent.
I'll just need to review this stuff and make sure I've got it all together by next Friday.
Yep, that'd be great. And if you need any help with that, like, as I say, we've had a bit of a preliminary look at that in developing or in providing you with the guidelines and everything. And I think you're on the right track. You just have to chase up those couple of third-party reports and maybe get that printout of that that policy that we discussed about the administration in the pizza place. What we'll do now is we'll just work through the assessment plan and ensure that I've covered off on all of these points, and I'll get you to sign that off if that's okay. So the purpose of this assessment is to recognise your prior learning in this unit of Communicate in the Workplace.
Right.
You and Liz are the target audience for this particular assessment, because you are the 2 people who are sharing this role which this assessment is designed for. You're at Queanbeyan High School, in your workplace. This unit of competency is deemed to relate directly to the work that you do. You have a copy of all the documentation which is attached to this assessment tool and the development therein, but for the assessment you don't necessarily need to bring any of those things with you. We're going to be conducting this assessment in a safe work environment where the evidence gathered demonstrates your consistent performance. So that's all covered off with the relevant industry and organisational policies and things in place. Everything has been contextualised to suit you in this role at Queanbeyan High School as Administrative Assistant, as we discussed. The main people who are involved in the development of this were David, Jilly and Jemima, who's now gone, and me. And so this has all been done prior to your arrival. All the requirements relevant to the assessment in terms of organisational, legal and ethical requirements are covered off by the existing system in place here at Queanbeyan High School. The two tools we will be, or the two instruments, sorry, we will be using to review your recognition of prior learning for this unit are the portfolio of evidence compiled by you, including any additional supporting documentation like third-party reports or actual examples of work, and then the oral questionnaire, which will look at the knowledge. I wasn't really sure about the assessment integration, but we're looking at possibly signing you off on some other units as well as we go through, but that's not integrated with this assessment per se, so we'll deal with that further down the track.
Okay.
As I said, the only things you need to bring for that assessment on Friday are the portfolio of evidence documents that you have. You can either email them through or hard copy, and nothing for the oral questionnaire, just yourself.
Okay.
And we've outlined the appeals process. Any reassessment options might be available. We've also outlined the documentation that we have here, and I will forward you the statement of attainment, and everything will be held on your records at the high school and at Training Solutions.
Okay.
And the workplace health and safety responsibilities for the assessment task really are only making sure that you have all you're using your correct chair and we are in this safe workspace. Oh, I did forget to say, if we have any OH&S concerns or anything that we identify as a risk or a hazard, then Jilly Archer is the person to contact about that during the assessment. She's the office, the school administrative manager, so she's the office warden. And if we hear the fire alarm or the evacuation bell, we just head out this door here into the courtyard. You can see the assembly area sign over there. And so, if you can get that documentation to me by Wednesday, at the latest, we'll kick off with these on Friday, right here at 9 a.m.
Okay,
Sound good? Any further questions?
No, I think you've covered it quite well. I feel confident I'll be able to put it together and bring it in.
Ripper, if you do think of anything, you've got my number, my email.
Okay.
Contact me.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.